absolutely love the fact that I don't have to wear bras ever again. There's nothing there. I'm a BRCA1 reviver.
Hey, Flatties and Allies. Hey, Flatties and Allies. Hey, Flatties and Allies.
What's up, Flatties and Allies? My name is Stephanie, and I am the Boobless babe.
When I was 27 years old, I got a positive BRCA genetic mutation that put me at an 87% risk of getting breast cancer in my life. And so I decided at 28 to do a prophylactic double mastectomy, which is where the word previver comes in. A previver is somebody who does things preventatively prior to getting a possible life-threatening disease or cancer. And I did the preventative double mastectomy, and I decided to have an aesthetic flat closure instead of getting reconstruction, which is where the word the Boobless babe comes in. Being BRCA1 positive, everybody has BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes, and these are tumor suppressor genes. When you have a genetic mutation in one of your genes, you're at a heightened risk for certain gynecological cancers. In my case, I am at a higher risk for breast, ovarian, stomach, and pancreatic cancer. And if you're a male who has a genetic mutation in your BRCA1 gene, you're also at a heightened risk for prostate cancer as well. So it is genetic, and if your parents have it, you have a 50% chance of being positive as well. In my case, my mother is BRCA positive, her mother was BRCA positive, and also got breast cancer due to having this gene. So knowing that my mom was BRCA positive, I knew my chances were 50% of being positive as well. And I got my genetic testing, which is just a quick blood draw and a 2-week waiting time frame to find out what my genetic markers looked like. And that is how I found out that I had a genetic mutation in my BRCA1 gene that put me at a heightened risk for breast, ovarian, stomach, and pancreatic cancer. The decision of getting rid of my boobs and not getting reconstruction actually happened quite fast. For me, I knew that I had the possibility of being BRCA positive when my mother tested positive around 2015. With that knowledge, I knew that I actually had the ability to do the double mastectomy and then get free reconstruction with it. So for the longest, I thought that I was going to have reconstructed breast and implants. However, about a month prior to my surgery date, I decided to actually stay flat and do a little bit more research as far as aesthetic flat closures are concerned. It's not talked about enough, aesthetic flat closures, that is. Reconstruction is normally pushed on us women. And I had to advocate for myself during that entire time prior to my surgery to stay flat with my surgeon. It didn't take me very long to come to the conclusion. I just knew that, breast implant illness is a thing. Implant maintenance every 10 or so years is another unnecessary surgery or unnecessary surgeries. And then also, when you're getting a double mastectomy, you're getting all of your breast tissue removed from your chest, or as much as possible, because we do have breast tissue in our collarbones and in our arms and whatnot. And so knowing that I wasn't going to have breast tissue to soften up implants, I personally did not want that aesthetic feature on my body. The day of surgery, my emotions were kind of, as you would expect. I was nervous. Not nervous because I thought I was making the wrong decision or that, I didn't want to get the surgery done, but it's still a very much life-altering surgery, and it is still a major surgery for us as individuals. For the surgeons, it's just another Tuesday, but I'm about to go to sleep with breasts on that I had at that point for 28 years and wake up in my mind, a completely different person. And that's actually kind of what happened is, I went in, I wasn't nervous to the point where I was just like freaking out. It was more so like the anxiety turned into excitement, turned into like, oh my goodness, it's all just happening, the realism of it all. But after I had the surgery, my emotions, were a little all over the place because of anesthesia and the drugs that you're coming out of. And then I looked at my chest right after surgery and I just started bawling my eyes out. And that's because I had to advocate with one particular surgeon of mine to be flat and to have my aesthetic flat closure. And this gentleman always tried to tell me that I would regret it, that I should try to do a Goldilocks procedure even, which is where they leave extra skin. So that way, when you do, later on, after you've healed of your mastectomy, you can get reconstruction, you can get implants put in. And so I was very worried that my wishes for my body weren't going to be respected. And so even before going into surgery, when I was getting prepped, I was telling every nurse that walked into my room, are you going to be in the operating room? Okay, cool. Make sure I stay flat. Are you going to be in the operating room? Okay, cool. Make sure I'm completely flat. There's nothing left on me. Telling anybody who would listen to me that I wanted to be flat, so that way they could hold him accountable. And yet when I opened my binder, which is what they put on you after surgery to keep the compression on you, when I opened my floral purple binder, I looked down and it looked like the side that the surgeon who I had to advocate so hard with had left a breast on my body, a boob on my body. And I felt betrayed. I felt violated. I felt like my worst fears had came true. And I took into account the fact that I was still swollen and I had a lot of fluid built up. And that's why I wasn't so afraid about my left boob. But all of those emotions right after surgery were heightened because of all of the drugs that you're coming off of and all of that. And so prior to surgery, I'm excited in a way and, anxious too. And then after surgery, all of that anxiety turned into fear, anger, and betrayal. My family and friends' reaction when it came to my decision of getting preventative surgery and then not getting reconstruction, it was a little twisted. They were really supportive of me getting the preventative surgery, especially my family, because we all know that my family has the genetic mutation. My mother, her sister, they both went through preventative surgery, but they did get the reconstruction. When it came to the lack of reconstruction and wanting to stay flat, I do face some pushback with that with my family, and I did. And they tried to convince me, just as my surgeon did, that I would regret it and that I should get something and that, women should have this, that, or the third. And they had their own ideas of women's body, but I try not to fault them because, this is an older generation with that older mindset. And that's actually what I'm actively working against right now. And I want women to accept themselves, whether that be with implants or without implants. I want the main focus to be on a woman's health, whether that's physical health or mental health. And some women's mental health are affected by implants, and also they're affected by being flat. So I understand the argument for both. I personally made my choice, and I do get a lot of backlash from people on the internet, and I also got a lot of pushback from my own family. And that's why I know I'm so confident in my decision, is because neither one can persuade me to do anything that I don't want to do for my body and how I want it to look. The responses that I got the first responses that I got are still the responses I get now, pretty much. It's a mixed crowd. Some of them are very supportive and thank you so much for doing this, and yay, representation for the BRCA community or the flatties or for people who unfortunately are dealing with cancer. And those are the people that I do it for. However, it's not with the negative group of, what are you? That's a man. This should be illegal. Am I being flashed? Am I tweaking? What the hell is this? Repent, because they automatically think I'm trans. Transphobic people come out of the woodworks 24/7, telling me to have some modesty, telling me to cover up, telling me I look disgusting, throwing up emojis, all of that and in between, I still get to this day. And personally, it never has bothered me. The more you engage with something you don't want to see, the more you're gonna see it, the more I'm gonna pop up, the more I'm gonna spread. And that's my mission. And people are like, you're doing this for attention. You're an attention seeker. Absolutely. I never said that I wasn't. But the difference is the way you're trying to insult me by being an attention seeker, that's not what my intentions are. I want your attention because guess what? That's the only way the whole world is going to see my flat chest. I am going to spread the awareness that I want to spread about aesthetic flat closures and BRCA. Unfortunately, we live in a society where we put a lot of emphasis on the way people look. It didn't take me a long time to adjust to not having breasts in the sense of like mentally about it. I didn't have any hard times about not having breasts anymore. There were like things that I would do that I did when I had boobs, but I'd still do it now that I didn't. For example, when I had boobs and if I wasn't wearing a bra and I bent over, I would just immediately put my arm underneath my boobs to hold them while I was bending over. And I would find myself at times, I'd still automatically respond to putting my arm underneath. And I was like, oh, wait, there's nothing there. Absolutely love the fact that I don't have to wear bras ever again. It did take me a minute to finally get rid of my bras, my sports bras. I threw the wire bra out immediately. But my sports bras, though, that's more or less what I would use on a day-to-day. And I was like, do I keep this? Because it's, it's cute, it's Old Faithful, but it's like, for what? With the exception of, the right side and knowing I was going to get revision. I was in love with my body from the beginning, but never was there a time where I was sad about the situation, regretting my choice, or wishing I had gotten reconstruction or anything like that. I am 1,000% more confident now in my body than I was pre-surgery. I don't know what it is, and it's crazy to think that a woman being boobless can actually increase their confidence because, again, the society that we live in. But I will say this, time and time again, I never loved my breasts when I had them. They weren't my source of femininity. I feel like I've reached max femininity. My advice for anybody going through the same situation or a similar situation, whether it be having a positive BRCA diagnosis, having an unfortunate positive cancer diagnosis, or even thinking of getting the testing, is you're not alone. Being BRCA positive isn't an automatic death sentence, and you have this community now of amazing people because, again, men can get breast cancer, men can get BRCA as well, be BRCA positive, my uncle being one of them. And just understanding that whatever you choose to do for your body, stay strong in that choice. Do not let anybody dissuade you, whether it be your family or your surgeon. If you want reconstruction, get reconstruction. Understand the risks with it. But understand you have multiple options. You can get regular implants like silicone saline. You can do a DIEP flap, which is where they take your tissue and your fat and they make a breast out of your own body. Know that they have issues with that as well. And then also you can stay flat, and that's not unheard of, and it's not a bad thing to not have breasts. But whatever you choose, you are valid in it. You're not alone, and we will be here for you. When you feel like your truest self, even if it's in the littlest things, whether how you dye your hair, how you style it, or the way that you look, there's nobody that could tell you anything different. When you have that self-validation for yourself.